To the all new Rasko and Disco show with me, Disco, and much less Rasko. And welcome to our guest for the evening. Welcome to the Disco Arms. Rob, Mr. B, Bramhall's Backroom Brewery. I always call you Bramhall. I don't know. I think that's some more formal.
Yeah, I think most people still trying to get used to the Mr. B, but it's still, that's my home brewing, Bramhall Backroom Brewery. That's my first love, is the home brewing. Beer reviews as well, but the home brew. But thank you for having me as well. It's nice to be in the Disco Arms because, great to be here. Cheers, Disco.
No, it's great. No, when you said about doing a review, I'm like, yeah, definitely. I needed to get back into doing the live streams. Obviously, it's been a while, and with Rasko, obviously taking a little bit of a break. He did the last live stream. On his, I'm not sure if many people saw it, let alone heard it, because as always on a Rasko and Disco show, there's some technical issue. So we had a little bit of a musical issue on that one. But so I haven't. It's almost all new for me because I'm coming back into it. But I love to chat about beer. I love to obviously drink beer, and I haven't been doing enough. I haven't been reviewing enough. So it's to get into do that. So I guess we just we'll say what the beer is. I like to show the beer. So. There's no mystery because I put it on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Earl Grey IPA for Marble Brewery in Manchester. The strong brew, it says. Would you say it was a strong brew?
Yeah, 6.8, is it? 6.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of verging on. A lot of breweries will put strong and go above 5, it's like 5.4.
Yeah,
and I'm like, it's not really strong, but I suppose knocking on 7 is fairly strong, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're touching 7 there, aren't you? And I won't be surprised. I mean, they put 6.8 on the can, but sometimes they can change that ABV. So
see, I've done that. I put that up there, then just picked up my pre-show cup of tea to carry on.
Is that an Earl Grey tea?
It's not actually. I don't actually drink Earl Grey. I'm a common as muck man, like any old supermarket special will do me. PG tips if it's on special reduced, you know what I mean. But
evening simmer. Yeah, I like a good old
evening simmer. Yeah. Do you dabble in particular teas? Are you a tea connoisseur among you?
I like loose leaf tea. I'm a snob. I'm a snob for coffee, snob for beer, snob for tea. I do apologise. I apologise. I like the good things in life when it comes to drinking.
Well, fair play. No, I'm coffee mornings and afternoon tea. So I always feel that I need a coffee. Like the old caffeine thing doesn't really do anything. I don't really get the buzz off it. I can have a cup of coffee and go to bed as long as it's past midnight. But it's the afternoon tea, and I'm just tea bags, dunk it a couple of times, get it out the cup. None of that stewed business, and just
I still do that for these.
I've had compliments on my tea and coffee making, so I think I make a pretty good cuppa. But
you can't beat a good old tea bag sometimes. Though it's so easy, and it just we do it. I like loose leaf tea, but it's a lot of
we used to do it. My family, when I was a kid, we had loose leaf tea, and then tea bags kind of come along, and it's just nah, it's kind of easier for me.
Yeah.
There's always somebody. Cheers, Mersey. Hello, Adam.
No, cheers, Mersey.
I hate tea.
That's interesting.
You assume everybody loves it, but
especially being English, British, you think everyone drinks tea.
People just don't. That's fair play.
Yeah.
What about tea and beer then? What are you thinking on that?
I think for me, I mean, I brewed an Earl Grey IPA myself after.
Oh wow!
I tasted the Marble one. I brewed one myself, and I called it Fancy a Brew, the drink, and it was an Earl Grey IPA, and it was really well. It was well received at the brew club as well, because I do think it works well because you get tannins, don't you? You can get some bitterness into it, just natural. Get that natural bitterness and the tannin, which goes really well in a beer because that's what you get in beers as well. Which you do trying to tame with the hops. And Earl Grey works well because you have the bergamot in there as well. So I think tea and brew beers does go well because it's got that. I don't know, a strong brew is quite, like I say, tannins and stuff. Quite like that.
What did your one come up as, like, against the Earl Grey?
It was well received at Brew Club. It was very much on point with the same ABV. I've actually got my brew book there. And some of the lads at Brew Club said they actually preferred the homebrew version because it seemed to give a little bit more on the Earl Grey. And then other like they preferred the Marble because it had less Earl Grey. So again, it's all subjective, isn't it? It's personal taste.
Yeah, indeed. Adam's no beer for a cup of tea. That's where you need a cup of tea. Like, no, sometimes I'll come home, I don't even fancy a beer. I will just break out a cup of tea, and I'm all good. To be fair.
Yeah. I did the was it Sober October, and I had a couple of like alcohol-free beers, but I just thought, wait a minute, I just may as well drink cups of tea.
Yeah,
I was enjoying cups of tea more than the alcohol-free beers. It just seemed a bit like I'm at home. Why am I drinking alcohol-free beers, watching a live or something, and thinking, just have a cup of tea, Rob. You'll enjoy that.
Yeah, we haven't even really found a halfway house with this beer at 6.8%, really, isn't it?
Yeah, true. But yeah,
I would say it's a fairly unusual beer. I can think of maybe 2 other breweries that do Earl Grey I've seen, but nothing like current. Have you seen many others?
No, I'm sure. Did Beavertown? Was it Beavertown did one at one point? Or wasn't? No, it wasn't Beavertown.
Oh, okay.
No, it was Yeasty Boys.
Oh, of course, Gun Matter. Yes, that's the other one I was thinking of. That's the second one.
Yeah.
The only one I can think of on top of my head is a brewery down in Maidenhead. I think they've just started up production again called New Wharf, and they had one called Tea with Erin. Again, I had it at a beer festival down here. Yes, Yeasty Boys was the other one. I was racking my brains today trying to think. But yeah, not too many else, I guess. Yeah.
So it's, I mean, you heard toast ale? Surprised they've not done a tea and toast ale or something.
They've done bread and jam.
Yeah,
I think the marmalade. I'm sure. I don't remember one they did that big collab box with like the 26 different collabs they did for the environmental thing up in Scotland.
What you mean?
COP26, and I would have thought one of them would have been in there. There was a lot of coffee ones, but yeah, no, that would be ideal for them. If you're watching, you heard it here first.
That'd be a great little selling point. It really would.
Indeed. Quick bit of news. Chapter Brewing are winding up business until June. The Chapter is not one I know too well. I've heard of, but don't know them.
Yeah, I've only ever had on my channel. I think I've only had one Chapter. It was a great beer, and I think it was Mersey may have commented because I didn't know much about Chapter. I think they're sort of like Warrington, Wirral, that sort of area. And all their beers. I think the guy was I think he was an English teacher or a librarian. It was something to do with books, and that's why a lot of the Chapter Brewing and the beers were named like book-related stuff. But I've had a couple off not reviewed, and they've been great beers. That's quite sad. But, It's slowing up, but it's still sort of almost once a month. I think now it was sort of once a week. Last year, now it's sort of once every 2 to 3 weeks. You see another brewery is just sort of given up. Really, I've heard my local bottle shop. Like I put a video out about last week. That's just he put the place on the market for I think he'd been 6 months. He'd been sort of trying to sell it and work out something with the landlord and that. And in the end, he went, you know what? It's just I'm about to retire anyway. I'll go and do something. Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm quite fortunate. There's quite a few bottle shops locally to me, and they're being well supported, which is fantastic. It really, really is. That's just fantastic to support a local bottle shop.
It needs to be.
Outskirts of Drumcorn. Oh, I remember having an oolong tea beer.
Yeah,
oolong. Yeah.
Mm.
No. English tea. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a shame.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I guess after a little preamble, we should get into the beer. Really, I think it's about time we just crack the beer open.
Let's get the beer in the glass.
Yeah,
Get a look of it, get an aroma.
What glassware do you recommend? Does it matter?
I've got this one. No, it doesn't matter. I've got the marble one.
Well, I started off with my chunky tribute glass, and I thought maybe I'll just go with my favourite kind of tulip one.
Yeah,
it's a bit more...
yeah, that'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
You see it's a marble glass because it represents the weather in Manchester. It's still there.
Yeah, I see it. Is it a myth that it always rains in Manchester?
Yeah. Let's get the beer in glass then.
I've had good weather the few times I've been to Manchester, and I've never really stayed in Manchester. I've always passed through, or just stopped for the day, like going to football, but always on the outskirts. So always transiting through Manchester.
Is your team's Plymouth, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, the mighty Argyle. We're not having a lot of luck at the moment, but getting there. I think I've got a sturdier platform today.
Issues. We're back. Are we okay?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a thing. I'm just saying, I think I've got a sturdier platform today, so hopefully it goes all right. Unlike the unboxing video. Okay, I still don't know if that's you, Rob, or me, but I can still see you, but not hear you. Slurpy, good evening, sir. Thanks for dropping in for a little bit, as long as everyone else can still hear me. Oh, that's it. Rob, unfortunately, appears to have dropped out a little bit. Some technical issues. Wouldn't be a Rasko and Disco stream without some kind of technical issues going on, either this end or that end. But I imagine Rob will pop back in very soon. Wait, Slurpy, do you know what I mean? Don't rock up into the stream and start swearing at me, sunshine. Do you know what I mean? Doombar, behave yourself. Oh, yeah, so what you reckon? So is it a little bit of technical issues on bandwidth and stuff? Well, I'm sort of going to wait for Rob to work out if we're coming back. Otherwise, it's me drinking on my own, and I don't think anybody actually wants to see that. That would be the most terrible April Fool this side of all the other terrible April Fool's jokes that we saw the other day. Quick, hit me up. What was your favourite April Fool's beer thing that went down yesterday? I guess a few of you, and thanks for watching. If you did saw my not April Fool's video of prawn cocktail IPA, thanks for everybody who saw that and commented. Yeah, actual prawns in a prawn cocktail IPA. Might as well talk about that whilst I try and work out what we're doing with the technical side of things. I hope that actually my stream is still going out. Let's check with YouTube and see if we are still on the airwaves. Looky there, chose a fine time because several other people are live as well, but these things happen. You can't be helped with YouTube. So whilst we find out what's going on with Roy, I'm just going to get into this beer and see what we can do. I'll do a little review and then we'll wait for Rob to get back and do his one. So yeah, I have I think had this before. As I was saying to Rob earlier, I think I had this on cask at I believe the Great British Beer Festival in Olympia. I was looking around on the old on the grids and what we had before, and I had the Manchester Bitter down there. Found a video with that on it, and I'm sure I've had this one. Oh, there is. There he is. Too busy looking at the camera. I see you down there.
Sorry about
Welcome
that.
back. No, that's all right. That's all right. Slurpee thinks it was a very funny April Fool's joke.
It's my internet. Definitely my internet that went there. Nothing to do with the Rasko and Disco. It is definitely the Mr. B's internet.
It wouldn't be otherwise. Buddy Biggs, what's going on here? What's going on is now, hopefully, a live review of Earl Grey IPA from Marble. So, yeah, cheers.
Mine is very, very murky.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I would say it is. It's quite hazy down the bottom there. It's a nice orange colour. It's much lighter off camera. And it seems to kind of fade down. There's like darker up there.
Mine's
is it not meant to be so murky? Is it not usually so murky in the pint?
It's not usually that's the thing. It's not as usually as murky as that. It's normally quite a clear looking beer, if I'm honest.
Right, okay.
I've also got some yeasty bits floating around in mine.
Oh dear. Well, it should be fairly fresh cans, I guess, and yours probably fresher than mine, being sourced locally.
Yeah. Which is it still looks appetizing. That's the main thing.
That's the main thing, exactly. Yeah.
So how far did you get until? Did you get the?
I just sort of panned and waffled a little bit. It took me a little bit by surprise. I didn't have a plan B there for a second. So yeah, what I started doing was talking about April Fools, because he said about April Fools jokes. So I started talking about my April Fool, not April Fool beer video with the prawn cocktail.
Yeah, that's clever.
And, thanks for commenting on that one as well. That was
it's clever because people thinking that's an April Fool's, but actually no, it's not. It's not an April Fool's. It just.
I had to reference the Northern Monk one from a few years back. Hence the crisps at the end as well. But went down pretty well, kind of on the bar. There was a few people willing to try it, and a few people came back for more. I don't think it was universally like, oh, that's the best beer ever. It's just something a bit unusual, and it's like, oh, there really prawns in it. Yes, there's really prawn shells in it, not the actual prawns. But again, since we're talking about unusual ingredients, I guess the prawns kind of goes the next. It's one of fairly unusual. You don't see that many beers with seafood, but there are one or two.
Yeah. What are you getting on the nose on this? Yeah,
I'll get back to that in a minute because I've got a question for you. But let's get on to the review. My nasal capacity is legendarily not very good unless it's a big, strong kind of smell, and I mostly smell grapefruit. So let's check on this.
Interesting.
I'm not getting too much myself, again, because my nose is slightly blocked, but it's more of a kind of a best bitter sort of orangey kind of, slightly orangey best bitter kind of note.
I'd say my personal on this is definitely getting an orange, definitely getting that Earl Grey note of tea. Also a little bit spice, a little bit of pepper.
Okay.
Slight hint of pepper, like a pink pepper.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe a little bit of salinity as well, perhaps. I say that quite a lot.
Yeah, it's a really interesting aroma, but it's just, for me, the Earl Grey is just there, but orange is the main. Well, the thing that's shouting out the most is like an orange.
Oh, of course, that's what the bergamot is, isn't it? Is it orange kind of?
Yeah, bergamot. Yeah. I don't know exactly what bergamot is.
No.
It's a flower, isn't it? Is it a flower or is it a?
Yeah, I think it must be. Yeah, is it not the flower of the tea bush or plant or whatever?
Is it the blue flower that you see in the Earl Grey?
Oh, I guess, yeah. I really should have looked that up, shouldn't I?
A lovely aroma.
Let's get slurping, I think. Cheers. Yeah.
Now I'm getting lemon now.
Oh,
that's nice.
That there's a very delicate orange kind of. I always use this orange marmalade kind of thing.
Yeah, I use
Not
it.
in the stickiness, just in that kind of orange rind kind of.
Yeah, the piffiness.
Mm.
Piff. See, I'm
So I'm
getting
not.
lemon with that, like a lemon piff, lemon peel.
Okay, I could. Yeah, yeah. This is something we talked about, like with that prawn cocktail beer. And we different palates do get slightly different variations
Yeah,
on the thing. Like a lot of people said, yeah, there's definitely prawns there a bit later on. Whether it's psychosomatic or what, I don't know. So
yeah,
am I picking up orange here psychosomatically because I know orange and bergamot is an Earl Grey kind of thing? I don't know. Um,
yeah. I definitely agree with you. Orange, not so much, not grapefruit, but more piff, lemon piff, and only slightly Earl Grey tea, slight tea. Not punching.
yeah,
It's
I
just
know I've
sweet,
had I
just
know I've had a cup of Earl Grey somewhere along the line, so I can't like say that I could remember what the taste of Earl Grey tea was. I don't particularly like it. I don't think I particularly liked it compared to your regular common or garden tea. So I don't know, but I know there's that kind of tea note there. And
yeah,
again, from the other two IPAs that I know, the Earl Grey IPAs I know I've had, I know it kind of compares. But yeah, I
yeah.
get more orange than tea.
Yeah, there's a tea, there's a tan. Like I said before, it's like a tannin, like a bitterness, isn't it? But that, I mean, that could be hops. But what I'm not getting here is if it's not a bitter like a real bitter IPA. It's not got
Yeah,
that. It's
yeah.
definitely not any new like the new hops, no tropical notes whatsoever. That's out. It's more of a traditional IPA with some bergamot tea and a slight floral note for me as well, just on the back end. There's just a slight, dare I say, like a scent, you know, like a floral
Uh,
scent,
I,
just
I
on
think
the back.
yeah. Now you say, I think it's like a floral kind of honey,
Mm.
like heather honey or something like that.
Yes, yeah, exactly like
So
yeah,
there's that kind of floral background.
yeah. That, like you say, I think the heather is a good example.
It looks like one of Mr. B's Sarsen specials, does it?
Well, he's had plenty of just haven't sent him the chips yet.
I've just realised what Sarsens is. It's vinegar, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
definitely not that. It's definitely not that.
It's got a nice body to it as well. 6.8%. You'd expect it though. Nice body, nice
Yeah,
low carbonation. It's not fizzy. It's not overly carbonated. It's quite
yeah.
smooth drinking.
I often use the term smooth, but kind of rough around the edges, and I think it has got that little note of kind of just a sort of rough edge, kind of sort of like barley or kind of a little bit of roughage on the tongue, kind of thing. Which is
Yeah,
again not a bad thing. I
yeah.
wouldn't say it's necessarily balanced as a beer because
Would you
for
say
me
that?
the orange sticks out more than the tea note.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm getting that piffy lemon up front. The tea is so subtle. There's a slight tannin there, and it just finishes with a floral note for me. Like you said, that heaven. There's just that right at the back end. It's
Mm,
there.
mm.
It's not a beer I could drink more than one of in a night. I don't think. I think it's just one beer sort of beer for me. It's like I'd have a
Definitely,
pint,
yeah,
maybe 2 pints. I think it's one of them.
definitely. Well, yeah, I mean, I think I could actually because I do like that orangey kind of note. I know, like, there's a whole and there's a bit of a discussion earlier about West Coast and New England, and I always prefer the West Coast because they've got a
Oh yeah,
slightly orangey note. And when in terms of citrus fruits, and I think obviously beers have a lot of citrus fruit notes. I cannot stand grapefruit. Never have. Hated it as a kid, so I don't like it in beer. Which takes out a lot of beer for me because there is quite a lot of
yeah,
grapefruit.
yeah.
So if it's a
Lots of
citrus note, it's got to be orange or lemons, a lime, I suppose.
yeah,
So I really like the orange note in that one.
yeah, yeah. No, it's a nice beer. I think it's just I don't know. It just feels a bit heavy for me to drink more than one. It just feels a bit of a heavier beer. Where if that was a West Coast IPA, I'd be going, yeah, let's have more than one. It's just
my problem with West Coast is, although I like the orange note, I often find too much pine and too much grapefruit. So I'd rather have this than a West Coast, but I'd rather have a West Coast over a New England.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said earlier, I was tongue in cheek, but I said that on a comment earlier that New England's taste of grapefruit, gravel, and pine fresh magic trees.
Do you feel like New England's though can be sometimes? Me personally, sometimes they're too sweet and they're I think New England's need. There's a few of them that do it, but not a lot of them bring in a bit of bitterness just to cut through that sweet malt, because sometimes the IBUs are so low that tropical note from the hops and then the sweetness from the malt, it just can be a bit like, again, it's one of them. I don't want to drink too many.
Okay, I don't think I've ever found a beer that's too sweet for me. I don't mind sweetness in a beer, either malt or lactose or whatever, or fruit. No, for me, New England's is about that combination of pine and grapefruit. Pine, I can just about take. Some beers have done it better than others, but yeah, the bitterness for me from the grapefruit, from the pine, just it's not a nice flavour for me. It's not like I treat it almost as not, and I'm not a fan of things that are too bitter anyway. It has to be a nice balance and smooth bitter for me. So I'd probably go with the West Coast, as I say, because it's more orange note and risk occasional pineness, whereas New England's for me are just grapefruit. And that said, I've got a New England Pale Ale on the bar at the moment that we did in combination with our local tap room, the Dodo, and it irked me some having to put 1.5 kilos of Citra hops in it as well as the other two. And it's not that I won't drink it; it's a good beer. It's just, for me, it's a little bit too much on the grapefruit. I want to be drinking more a can of Lilt than I do out and out grapefruit punchiness, you know.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So the tropical notes more forward than the citrus.
Yeah, I mean, that said, that prawn cocktail beer's got Citra in it, and I forgot about that. And even when I'm drinking, I'm thinking there's something not right here. What am I talking about? And I had to check afterwards, and like, yeah. And girl looks at me, and this guy, it's got Citra in it. I'm like, oh, okay. I can drink. I'm not against it entirely, but I can, you know.
Yeah.
I should have checked what hop and things are in this.
What does it say on the can? What does it actually?
I don't know, because my eyesight is terrible.
I'm doing the same. I'm doing like a trumpet.
I'll do the old raggy thing. I should have set up better.
Yeah, my glasses are here somewhere. Probably at the back.
Well, I learned off a raggy. Always have the magnifying glass to hand so I can read it properly.
The magnifying glass.
Yeah, the disco-fying glass doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
Here you go. Right, I've got a description on the side. It says Keys Biberman, now of Brewers Keys, and John Rees, now of Brewer de Molen, joined us originally to brew this smooth and citrusy India Pale Ale, which is fermented with timed additions of Earl Grey tea. That's all it says.
Yeah, so, no, to be fair, on the side, in the ingredients, it's the usual ones and Earl Grey tea, but it doesn't say what the hops are. So, no,
it'd be interesting. It feels to me like it's going to be like very traditional Columbus Centennial, something like you were saying, bringing the orange notes. You think of something around Columbus Centennial around there, maybe even Cascade possibly, but it's definitely got the citrus is forward, and then you get that subtle Earl Grey for me, finishing with a slight floral scentiness.
The citrus for me is definitely erring on the side of orange. I can see what you mean about the lemon, and then obviously the floral stuff a little bit later. I didn't realise that was next week. Slurpy Dave's getting a visit from I think Adam and Co going over to the island next week. That could be dangerous and fun at the same time.
Is it a beer festival? think it is.
I think so. Yeah. Not that I need an excuse, but yeah, that's a good enough excuse to go over. Isn't it? I hope to at some stage. Buddy Biggs is stuck on the motorway. I always put Slurpy Dave's jokes up because they are terribly good. I saw a hearse today doing 4 mile and a fast lane driver got done for undertaking. Thank you, Slurpy. Yeah. Keep up the good work.
Classic Slurpy.
Hey, we've gone international. We're taking the live stream international. Sammy's dropping in from good old Australia. Cheers, Sammy. Thanks for
Is it morning? Morning, Sammy. Cheers, mate.
I believe, yeah. That doesn't necessarily stop Sammy drinking, but I would have thought midweek he's either off or coming home from work.
I think he's actually off work this week. I'm sure I've seen him say that in one of his lives.
Yeah, talking of another country, we've got some northeast residency coming in. It sometimes feels like another country. Sorry, another county. Sorry, yeah.
Evening, Luke.
Cheers, everyone. Isle of Man Train Spotters Festival.
So Adam will have a fantastic time with Slurpy. Slurpy and his mates are absolutely superb. We met them last year for a night, and it was just fantastic. Dave is just what you see. Fantastic.
Yeah. I haven't had good enough time just watching his videos over breakfast in the morning when he puts them up, and obviously I did that video at Christmas where I put him like my top beer YouTuber. I think he was in there. I think at number 4. But yeah, no, good fun and some really good beers as well. So I hope at some point somehow to get over there.
Yeah, you'd love it. You'd have a fantastic time. Absolutely.
I mean, that's it. The amount of time and places I used to get to around the country. I'm looking forward to getting back to Manchester as well at some point.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to meet up for a drink, Disco, if you come to Manchester.
Absolutely. Well, I'm hoping that Slurpy, one of his many canal adventures, he eventually gets down to London for a canal trip, because we've got a canal that runs down the bottom of the brewery, down the lane at the bottom of the brewery. So it'd be an ideal place for Slurpy to stop for a pint.
would he have to bring his own sparkler?
No, funnily enough, now that's a very good point. I was going to talk about the North and South thing. We do actually have a sparkler on the bar, mainly because the owner and brewer, Mike, his family are actually from up north, around your way. Okay. Well, actually more Warrington. So he did get a sparkler in because we started doing cask back end of last year as well. So we have got a sparkler on the bar, and we do use it. And I can never remember. I always forget whether sparkler is north or south.
Sparkler's north.
Yeah. Right. So I'm a soft southerner with northern sensibility, so I'm fine with sparklers.
Great.
Yeah, I'm good with that. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah,
I'm as much a traditionalist as I'm not.
Yeah, sparkler.
Slurpy just takes his own.
I can just imagine Dave just pulling it out and going, "Can you just put that on the end of it, please?"
Put that on sap. I mean, he doesn't speak accent, but my Yorkshire and Lancashire accent is the same.
Yeah, you get Simo, Dave, and Luke John arguing over them accents.
I'm fine with either. Big shout out to Gluggy Duggy there from Luke.
Yeah.
Can pop up in the videos. There was a joke here. I'm going to put Slurpy's joke up. Sam went to watch Australian Beatles the other day. John, Paul, George, and Dingo. Well, funnily enough, I don't need any other nicknames, but so that's why I take the mickey out of the northeast, because Luke loves to grind on London.
Yeah, flat. So there's a question then. So
yeah,
how much is it? How much is a pint of cask in your in your bar then?
On our bar, again, it was a bit of a difficult discussion we had. We sell beers for £6 a pint, which I think in London, for me, when he put it up, and it was, I mean, I've seen it go through from 5 to 5.50 and now 6, and he put it up and I'm like, ooh, because, I know why the price is the price. I never argue about the price, but that seemed a little bit to me, but it's fine because of the area we are in. That's not a problem. We we didn't actually differentiate between cask and keg in the end. Basically, one supplements the other, one subsidizes the other in a way, because we put all pints at £6. It's just easier rather than having like the stronger beers more, and like, you know, also the fact that I'm not that smart trying to add up and all that, like we got the machine, so just do on that. Yeah, so £6, which I don't think is terrible. And we had a beer go on at the weekend, which was a special beer we did, which was a honey pale ale, and there was an absolute flip ton of honey in it, and it came out at 7.6%. So that is £7.50 a pint, but we all know, you know, why that has to be the case. Like,
yeah. It's interesting though. So it's £6 across the board.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I go in the tap rooms in Manchester, Shore Shot, Cloudwater, Track. For a pint, it's £6 plus, unless it is a cask, and then it's, you know, £4.75 up to £6, depending on the ABV. So, to be fair, that's not a bad price, is it? £6.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite difficult. The area we're in, there is very little in the way of certainly craft beer. There's a couple of pubs down the road. I mean, we've got a Wetherspoons a couple of miles away, but that's a whole different thing, I guess. And you know, wouldn't even look at that market. But I'm not against stopping in a Wetherspoons because I need a beer and it's there, and the pubs are good and stuff like that. So
yeah,
£3 a pint. I remember the days.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and it's great.
Here's a good marker. Here's a good marker for you. Then when I first started drinking, the pub up the road here in Northwest London, if I remember rightly, in the pub, the first pint I had was a pint of what was it? I think it might have been Green King IPA, actually, something like that. Anyway, Tetley's maybe. It was £1.97, so that kind of dates me. What was the price of your first pint, do you think?
I think about £1.20, and it was Bass. I used to like Bass Dark Mild. All my friends were like lager drinkers, and you know, drinking Carlin and stuff. And or the other alternative where I was drinking was Stone's Bitter, which I never really liked.
The one in the old orange cans. The old orange.
It was on there. It's on like a, I want to say like a keg. It wasn't hand pulled. Slurpee might know more, but it's on like a switch. So it was like a device, but it was like a switch, and that never. No, I was always a dark mild, and if we went into the local, what's it called, the social club, it was Thwaites' dark mild, and that was even shit. I think that was about 90p a pint.
Wow,
I remember.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, that was probably the first legal pint of 197, but the first pint was probably a pint of Webster's Yorkshire Bitter at my local social club, which was actually the Scout headquarters. It was 60 odd p. I mean, obviously heavily subsidised, and it was Webster's Yorkshire Bitter, but we loved it at that age. Vaguely legal.
Yeah. I was just glad I didn't go down the Carlin route, to be honest. I always preferred the cask beers, just not as gassy.
Cheers, Henry, as supportive as ever. Thanks for popping in and clicking the old like, subscribe. I never ask people to like and subscribe because I think people know that deal by now, but also I don't have to because Henry does it for us. Welcome back to the live there, Henry.
Yeah, evening, Henry. Yeah, £3 for them.
£4.95, a steady rolling man.
£7 steady rolling man, wasn't it? Yeah, we've got near me is a pub called the Magnet, and I think steady rolling man is about £5.20 in there a pint, which is great. It's a great beer, great price, I think. Not quite as cheap as Luke's getting it though. There you go.
Elections beer engines.
Electrical must be.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was what it was then. Was it this little button that there was? Yeah. Never.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we've got ample. £5 a pound for London prices is damn well. It would be. I mean, not most pubs, but I mean that's one of the things I see away. But Wetherspoons, I don't know why they don't put £1 on it and charge £3 or £3.50 a pint. They'd still get away with it, and then they could make sure the beer was kept better. Pay like the staff to actually look after it a bit better. I mean, the pubs around my way, the Wetherspoons are okay actually.
I heard that the Wetherspoons were putting their prices up in London. Is that not true?
The Wetherspoons prices are all over the place. I'd love to be in some of their pricing meetings when they decide the prices, because you go to two pubs next door to one another, or next door towns. You don't get too many of next door these days, and they're wildly out. But yeah, the central London pubs are stupid money. Like Leicester Square and the O2 are like £8 a pint, I think.
Yeah.
So my one up the road again. That's probably for macro, like probably Stella or something. I'm over blessed with Wetherspoons in this area, and it's not a traditional real ale area really. It's mostly like lager drinkers and a Fuller's area. But I had a pint the other day, £2 a pint. Couldn't argue with it, to be fair. And it was £1.99. To be fair, that was their beer festival, so I don't know whether they adjust it after or before or whatever. But even they've started doing craft beers, like, you can get a pint of Anspach and Upday in a Wetherspoons now.
You're joking.
Yeah. I guess just the pale ale or whatever. They obviously price it right. Also Wildcard. London. We get a lot of the London breweries around here. So
yeah. Even to get any of them little breweries into a Wetherspoons is fantastic, isn't it? To be honest.
Well, yeah, exactly. Third tea time of the day. I just caught Luke's last tea time as he was saying goodbye.
Yeah, I missed Luke's today.
I got a Cruz. Oh, that's a lager, isn't it? Yeah, Cruz Camp. Yeah. I've not tried. I always struggle to keep up with comments. I didn't expect to get so many this time either. Here's one I've heard about: Autovac. Are there any pubs on the island that still use Autovac? I've heard of that.
Autovac. Actually, I've not heard of that. Not heard of that one. Is that like is that very similar to the system where there's a bag? It's like the beer's in the bag and there's a vacuum to push it out, something like that. Sounds.
Oh, okay. As opposed to the keg of pushing the air in, you suck the air out.
Yeah, there's a few in there where the brewery will fill up the keg, plastic kegs. I can't remember the name of them, but it's a bag inside a keg, and then it pushes it so it never touches CO2. So it's a bit like a real ale. It pushes the bag, and that's a bit like a PD machine does. That sort of
right,
stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of them kegs. Really can't. No. Someone in chat will know.
Whoever said the barman says £2 a pint or £7 a picture. I said just a pint. I don't need a photo taken. You know what you know, Henry. You know what you like. That's good enough.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. You know what you like. You drink what you like.
I thought very, very last minute about this. I'm not sure it was a good idea, and obviously I didn't get a chance to give you a shout about it, but I was wondering, since we're having a tea, what sort of biscuits I should have to go with this beer.
Well, but most people probably say rich tea, but I hate rich tea. So I'd have to go bland. Yeah, go for a digestive would be my choice.
One of these.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a digestive. No. You can't go wrong.
Well, I'm not going to, as I have with the tea, dunk my digestive in a beer of this quality. But let's have a little check.
Yeah, I think you should compliment it.
Well, there's tea in the beer. I mean, put a good healthy knife full of marmalade on a digestive, and you're kind of there, really.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, I think it compliment it. You're getting that nice cereal bit from the biscuit, bit of sweetness. Yeah. And then you're getting the.
This is where we need a little chat from Crummy Beard, because he started off doing biscuit reviews before he got onto beer. So, tea and biscuits. I like that one. That's quite good.
What have you got next?
I went for all my favourites, which isn't a particular type. It's just whatever is the cheapest or the club card price when I'm in Tesco's. So the next one is Fox's Crunch Cream.
Okay. So you got a soft, creamy centre in this one.
Soft creamy centre. Yeah, I think it's just vanilla. I don't think there's an orange one. I suppose I should do it properly and do a palate cleanse. See if it makes a difference.
One.
Fox's Crunch Cream again. Nothing. I didn't go for the ginger nuts because I thought that might be a slightly wilder flavour, too much ginger. Although ginger and orange could have worked. I don't know.
That creaminess would be interesting.
I generally try not to eat on camera for this very obvious reason, but
see if that beer cuts through that fatty cream. That's tester.
No, that works too because the cream has got a slightly floral kind of note to it, and the biscuit's got that kind of biscuity note against the. Yeah, beer and biscuits is working.
Yeah.
Well,
what about if you had a Garibaldi, tricky Garibaldi would go with it?
Well, funnily enough, no, I haven't. Garibaldi, no, too much. I don't know. Well, with the fruit like, sultanas or whatever. I think the big thing, though, is the other thing with tea is tea and cake.
Oh no. Battenberg or something. Where are you going?
Oh, close. Fondant Fancies.
Oh, yeah. They're so sweet. They're so sweet. This is going to be interesting because that bitterness from that orange.
Well, I don't know. The red one, which I suppose is vaguely strawberry flavoured, or the chocolate one. The chocolate one, I think, would go better.
Yeah, with the orange.
Yeah. Let's do the chocolate one. I mean, I'll save that one for tomorrow.
What beer is it tomorrow?
Whilst I'm indulging, if everybody in the comments could tell us their favourite biscuit, I think Luke's gone with McVitie's shortcake.
McVitie's shortcake? Which one are they? Is they the ones with? Have they got little raisins in?
No, I think they're the round ones with the little ridges, aren't they?
Oh, not too sure which ones they are.
This is not the sort of content that David Wilson came in for with the biscuits, but good evening, sir. We're doing tea, so I'm doing tea and cake and tea and biscuits. Let's go quickly with the chocolate, and then we'll move on to something a bit more sensible.
Yeah, that's going to be very sweet. Now the bitterness does that now balance out that sweetness.
No, if anything, it amplifies the bitterness on the back end a little. I'm getting more bitterness as it goes down the pint. Do you know, actually, we said earlier about not doing another pint. I could probably quite easily crack the other can of that and carry on. Against the chocolate, I think it's two very different flavors, so it doesn't really complement each other, but it doesn't go against each other.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, I don't find anything. There's very little I found that's too sweet, certainly in drinks. I love a bit. I do have a sweet tooth.
I'm going to say, if you got a sweet tooth.
Also have a very savoury tooth. So
yeah, and that's me. I'm more of a crisp man than a chocolate man. Which there's another one, isn't it? What snacks would you have with a beer?
Mersey appears to agree with you on the Garibaldi. Oh no, would have been paired with a mild.
Yes, that'd be great.
Well,
that's a great.
I have got the Manchester mild in the stash, so maybe I should go on to that next. I don't know.
That's a good beer, the Manchester mild. Yeah, it's about 4.2, isn't it? Garibaldi, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
mild's something I need to get into more. I've got a few milds in the stash, and I haven't got into them.
Have you got a few milds? Have you?
Yeah, I've got too many to be fair. I've still got the boxcar milds that I was meant to get into.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Simo's having trouble with his old man. Can't send a text. Well, we all have that cross the bear, I guess. With the old folk, you wait till you get old and see how you get on. Yeah, I'm off the Aldi beers.
Yeah, it depends what Aldi beers you ask them.
Yeah. If it's a free beer, it's usually good beer, in my opinion. But then I'm a bit of a tightwad like that. Mersey's favourite beer no longer exists. A Cadbury Oaty. Since with a chocolate hobnob made with Cadbury's chocolate, which is superior to McVitie chocolate. controversial. Can't say I remember it particularly.
I don't remember it. No, I wouldn't really, like I say, I wasn't. Yeah. He was talking crisp. McVitie's is literally just down the road from me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just there in Stockport Town Centre. I don't know if you've been to Stockport. Have you been?
I have, yes. Yeah, I've been to Stockport a couple of times, only for football and only again in and out. There's one of the best chip shops, I believe, in the country in Stockport, if I remember rightly. Again, only by football. Sausage, chips, rice, and curry sauce was the best. And I was a bit gutted when they got relegated because it meant we didn't get a chance to go back to Stockport. That's just my abiding memory of Stockport, is that chip shop.
Are you talking about the one on Castle Street or the one on like Duchy Street near the ground?
Well, since we'd come up from London, I'd started drinking at 9 in the morning, and I don't really remember the street names. In my head, you came out of there. It was on a main road. The pub was on the corner, and you crossed something and then went to the stadium. But I could have, the distances are, and that was about 15, possibly 20 years ago. Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, it sounds like the
I don't know it well enough, but yeah, I've been to Stockport, and I do enjoy it. I did enjoy a trip to Stockport.
Yeah, well, the McVitie's factory just borders. Well, it's in Stockport, but borders Levenshulme, like that. Central Manchester. Then, but yeah, it's just there. But sometimes you're in Stockport, you can smell the biscuits. You can smell because all the chocolate's done in the Stockport one, so you can smell.
Okay, that's funny because I've got a McVitie's factory not that far up in northwest London. In fact, a little bit further on the canal from me by here in Harlesden is a McVitie's factory next to the railway line. As you come into the railway into Euston, there's a McVitie's factory. Yeah. So I don't know what they do there, but I know the biscuity smell coming from it.
Yeah. Depends if you're in the town centre of Stockport and the wind's blowing, you either get Robinson's Brewery or you get McVitie's. That's the aroma you're gonna get.
So I told you biscuits wasn't David Wilson's cup of tea. Perfect beer snack is another beer.
Yeah, probably something big with David. The big bit. Harry Potter scratching.
Oh yeah, why not?
Yeah, the puffed up.
Cheers, Henry, as always. Luke's been to a strip club in Stockport. I don't expect you'd know about that, Rob.
I know St. Peter's Gate. I didn't know there was a strip club there. and a big pole. Luke was the stripper.
Oh, it's that sort of strip club, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think the digestive was the best accompaniment to Earl Grey IPA.
Yeah, I can imagine it just getting the right notes there. That little bit of sugar on top of the biscuit. Yeah, I think that would be.
I always like to talk about. It's usually quite good lacing. It's quite a good indicator of beer. It's a bit late to talk about that because it's dissipated, but there is some decent lacing on that glass.
Yeah, it's all.
All
the way down. See every drink. Yeah. It's a nice beer. It's just like I say, for me, it's just one that I'd have one and move on to something else. But for you, you'd have more than one, which is good.
Yeah, I think I could. Yeah, definitely. I could. I don't think that 6.8% doesn't really feel like it. To be fair,
no, it doesn't show up.
No, definitely with the non-hairy pork scratchings, Henry. I really can't stand hairy pork scratchings. That said, I think after a second one, I might notice a 6.8 because I used to not really notice ABVs until I started reviewing stuff, and then suddenly you have to look at them in order to record them and stuff like that. So I do start noticing them.
Yeah, taking more of an interest.
Yeah, but no, with that 6.8%, it did feel fairly light, apart from that kind of marmalade-y note. But the alcohol wasn't strong really at all, which is kind of good.
Yeah, it's a hidden. You wouldn't if someone give you that, you wouldn't be thinking that was near 7%. You wouldn't.
No.
Going,
no, I'd put that 5.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, for me, about a 5 in like the body and everything about it. Just feels very 5. No harshness, no alcohol burn, none of that whatsoever.
Be back at the Champions next season. Plymouth and Stockport could be in League One next season. Really? Are Stockport doing well?
Yeah.
Oh, forgive me. I hadn't really noticed League One, to be fair, even though we are rather close to the drop. I think we might be okay. We just sacked the manager today, so he's lost 5 out of the last 5. So, well, I have said that going back to League One wouldn't be a big thing because there'd be loads of good places to go. And if Stockport's one of them, fair play. I'll come for a pint, Rob.
Yeah. I won't join you to the football because I gave up on County a good while back. I mean, I'm a United fan. But I used to go United. Home.
Sorry?
Yeah. A Manchester United fan.
No, I heard you. I'm just sorry for you, Rob. That's a standard joke with any team.
Yeah, I know it's bad. It is at the moment really bad. It's terrible. I think I should start going back to County, to be honest, because that's much better football. Yeah. Last
time I went to County, Carlton Palmer was player manager.
Yes. I used to go the Danny Bagheera days, and I went to Wembley twice with County in the cup games. They never won. All the way to Wembley and miserable all the way home.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's like United are in the semi-final of FA Cup. It's at Wembley. That's just ridiculous for me. I think that's just stupid.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not. Despite it being just down the road and having, well, not really worked on it, but supplied it. I kind of like Wembley. Again, one of my first Argyle games was at Wembley because it's like 4 stops on the tube. But I hated them knocking it down and rebuilding it and stuff like that. And we've been there a couple of times since with Argyle for a game and whatever. And I think what they've done to it and, corporate shithousery, but I don't think it's any better than any other big stadium that could play it. But I understand why they do it. It would make sense to play it in a bit more neutral kind of territory between the two in the final or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of difficult. Yeah.
Little bit frustrating to do that. At least you didn't knock your beer over.
Not this time. No. But
it was when they all just started crashing down. You're like,
well, I'll tell you what. In a moment of self-depreciation, I don't mind laughing at myself. I put a little clip together, and I don't mind. Should we show people like what happened on the unboxing video if they haven't seen it?
Yeah.
If not, why not? But then you'll get a link to it, I think now. But I did put a little thing. This is what happened in the unboxing. Disco will feature in the next one, which I think will be Disco Day 9. That's how long I've been doing it. Wait for it, which is again relevant because I've been drinking Marble beers.
It's your phone.
Yeah, still flinch every time I see them drop. I picked up probably the least damaged one. But so much so that when I picked them up off the floor on the table and whatever, one of the Pips Disco, which was the whole point of the order, had actually got pierced on whatever it fell on. I don't know, the edge of the table or whatever. So because I was in front of the camera, I ended up just cracking it and doing the review there and then.
Yeah, you had to. You had no choice.
Well, I was
Was it the norm that you was drinking on the video?
Yeah, that was the norm.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you can have 2 beers.
Yeah, it was mid-afternoon, so I didn't really need 2 beers, and I do try not to. I struggle with getting videos out, so like 1 video a week is usually my limit anyway. Like it takes me ages to do it, and then I have to block out all the ums and ahs and the things I've said that are complete rubbish, and go back and look at it. So that one, the Pips Disco one, because I get all the disco beers in, and it's a bit of self-indulgent waffle, like, but I like to do them all together. I don't know if it's a good idea or what, but I'll do them all as a video together. So
Yeah.
I at that point, I don't think I'd finished editing the previous load of disco beers, so I couldn't put it in with them. And I've got another 2 coming now, so I'll do that. I'll just save that one for the footage. And I got the second can, and I think I'll do that when I do that video, like, you know.
Yeah. I've actually had that Pips Disco.
Okay. Yep.
Is it a blonde ale?
It is. Yeah. No spoilers, but it was decent, but not a standout. I don't know. I don't know who Pip is or why he was having a disco, but I like the fact it was a blonde. I don't try too many blondes. I usually find them a bit too hoppy, but yeah, shit always happens to me, especially when I've got a camera in front of my face. So, but yeah, it didn't go to waste. You know me, David. I'm not going to waste beer if I can help it.
It would have been a great video, but not so good for you if one of them had just gone.
Yeah, it'd been terrible for my front room, but yeah, it would have been
around proper disco.
Yeah, I've got so many videos where I've either been flummoxed or like something's fallen over, and I've just gone, right, that's it, cut and canned. I've got probably I don't know, at least a dozen videos I've never put out because it just isn't right. I think I might. The vague plan was like as a birthday thing or something to do like a blooper reel. Trouble is, my blooper reel is all like, there's nothing out and out funny about it. Nothing as funny as that drop, but it's all just like me going, shut up, Disco, you're talking rubbish, and just giving up.
Yeah. Right. I suppose the only one that I do is if I start to waffle and you think, what are you talking about? You look at yourself and go, what are you saying there? And you put it out. So I've not really got nothing fun, not like that, like you say. Yeah, if you have something like that, that's definitely going to be.
It's usually just idiot pause where I've gone a bit too keen and it's a bit too bubbly or whatever. And hang on a minute. And I've just gone, that looks rubbish. And I've just got a notification that I should have plugged my laptop in. So as more technical issues go, bear with me a second. But yeah, these things happen, as we say, and you have to have a laugh about it, don't you, really?
Of course, yeah. It's life. Just get on with it and just crack on.
Yeah, talking of which, I know we said we do an hour or so, but we've got a lot of people in and everybody's chatting away. I did have a spare beer. Do you fancy another quick beer? I don't know if you've got a...
I can go get... I might even have another marble. So
okay, fair play. Yeah. Well, I've got one out. I thought about getting the other marble, the marble mired out, but I might
save it for your other mild. If you're going to do a mild week,
yeah, I might do some kind of mild off if that's a thing. I don't know. I don't want to leave it too long. Mild May.
Mild May. I think there's a theme there. I'm sure there's a.
God, that's only a month away. It's quite scary.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, the one I got out, I just reached into the stash. I've actually got a stout because I love stouts and stuff.
Yeah, that's your preferred.
Not for I think generally because of like I say, I'm not really a big fan of the bitterness or the grapefruit, and obviously I love the sweeter stuff. But I do try. I'm good at trying other like IPAs and whatever. But I've got a basic oatmeal stout here from Turning Point, Howling at Clouds. So I think I might give that a little crack.
Okay, well, let me go. I'll go and grab something then. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. I'll just do some comments whilst we're here. Yeah, thanks everybody who's popped in, by the way. Superb. I'm glad. I assume it's because we're talking about mild and everybody's interested in mild. So that was the Earl Grey IPA from Marble Brewery up in Manchester. And thanks to Rob also for popping in to review it with me. We're going to stick around for a bit, and I'm just going to crack this beer from a Turning Point. Yeah, thanks for keeping up, Luke. That's exactly what Rob's going to do. He's going to go and grab a beer, and we'll have another quick one. I'll just pour Turning Point Oatmeal Stout. Oh, always happens. Over poured it a little bit, but you know, I get a little bit too keen, and then I think it's going right, and then it doesn't. What a good creamy head on that, and nice dark oatmeal stout. 4.4%. Didn't realise that. Nice session strength stout. Dave Wilson enjoyed the Earl Grey one when I had it. Wish there were more miles. Yeah, I say I've got a few miles in there, including the Marble Manchester mild. It's something I always say I prefer the milds again because of the darker body on it. And what is that? That looks a bit special. That looks too special for this stream. What's going on?
This is a Gilton Flint. So it's down southwest. And is it Devon? I think it's Devon, Gilton Flint. And
wow.
This is an organic chocolate oatmeal stout.
Whoa, okay. Matching up the oatmeal stout. Fair play.
5.4.
Is it one you reviewed before, or you got?
Yeah, I've had this before. I've had it a couple of times because I really enjoyed it. So, yeah.
Right. Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice beer. It's very difficult to read though because it's gold writing on the black, and
I imagine quite difficult to photograph as well for the old Instagram picture. That's one thing I forgot to do. I was going to do that, line it up on here, take the photo for Instagram and put it up tomorrow. But luckily, I've got the second can for that, so we'll worry about that another time.
Yeah,
I was enjoying the chats too much.
So yeah, I'll just rinse that marble glass out. Perfect glass for it. But yeah, it's a nice beer. I'm sure it's Devon. I grab these when I go down into Dorset.
Oh yeah, Dorset. I'm just going to put you up on big screen just to see that pour because you've done it properly. It looks really good.
Yeah, there we go.
Superb.
Yeah, like I was saying, I haven't got a sweet tooth, but it does remind. It's a crazy. What that reminds me of is, like years ago, they used to have it's like a chalk ice, but they had like a wafer as well, sort of thing.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And that's the aroma you get. It's like you get that wafer, and then you get the chocolate with it, and it's just really decadent on the nose. You're thinking so inviting, creamy, perfect.
Fair play. Yeah, I remember the ones that were Neapolitan rather than chocolate ones, but obviously had a chocolate element to it.
Yeah, true.
Cheers to Buddy Biggs hitting the 1K on the numbers. Cheers for that. Good stuff, sir. In the money.
Nice one, buddy. You deserve it.
Yeah.
Great channel. Absolutely.
Yeah, top stuff.
Seeing Kevin's comment.
That's the next one I'm putting up. Yeah.
Yeah, I did mention that earlier, Kevin.
Well, you did say on the tea. Yeah, is that what he's referencing, or is he talking about something else?
Yeah, the tea snob, the coffee snob, the beer snob. I think I'm getting a reputation with Kevin.
He'll do that. He picks up on things like that. He's sharp.
No, you can't help it, Kevin. He enjoyed the good things.
Feels like you've got the better one because this oatmeal stout is much heavier on the coffee than the chocolate, but yours specifically have got the chocolate element. So
yeah, mine's definitely 100% wafer, chocolate wafer in a glass with a creamy note. And that's why it reminds me of a chocolate wafer ice cream. Even you remember the brown cone when you used to have the ice cream, but what's the brown cone? The twisty cone.
Cone?
Yeah, so like you had a 99 in them, not just the normal, but the brown wafer twist. What did they call them?
I don't know. So I thought originally you were talking about the ice, like the big feast.
Yeah, well, I'm talking,
but not in the cone.
Yeah, so it's the chalk ice with the wafer, or chocolate ice cream inside one of them. Just go help me out. It's not just your normal. If you go for a 99, you get like a normal. You get a normal cone, but it's the one you pay a little bit extra for.
What, with the chocolate on the point?
Yeah, and it's like really pointy, like a Cornetto one.
Oh, you've got me there. Well, I mean, like, it's a long time since I've really taken much interest in like ice cream cones. Like, I know as an adult that's still allowed, but I don't know actually. I don't.
I'm gonna get Mrs. B to Google it now. Say Google what that is, because that is driving me mad. Because that's what this is. Waffle cone. Is that what it was?
Waffle cone.
A waffle cone.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks to Information Corner there, Mrs. B.
Yeah, it's a good job. Have we got a picture? Yes. That's the one. So we don't. Oh, the brightness. Let me turn that brightness down. Otherwise, you're not going to see it.
See, who says beer drinking is educational? We learn so much. Random useless stuff.
These.
Oh right, yeah. Just a standard waffle. Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah.
So you can imagine ice cream in one of them. Chocolate ice cream. That's reminiscent of the flavors of that beer.
Right, that's what happened. My brain is easily confused, and it got confused by the chocolate. I thought the chocolate was on the cone. But a straight waffle cone. I usually would go for a waffle cone over a regular like wafer cone. To be fair, because I prefer the flavour. Yeah, fair play.
It's lovely. It's really, really smooth. What I like in a beer like that is the carbonation is just super low. Just
okay. I'm gonna go back and check that brewery later on, because it's a new one on me, and I should know about Devon breweries, really. I suppose.
Yeah, I'm 100% it's Devon. 100%. Kilton Flint. I'm sure it is. Okay. It's like a farm. Organic beers. So, yeah.
I say for this is the one part of the thing about Beer Tube is like learning new breweries, and it feels like every week there's a new. I mean, I know there's 2,500 in the country, but finding a new brewery every week is kind of A, good, but B, too many breweries, not enough me.
Yeah. I was going to put a question out on my channel, because I've seen a question on Twitter. I still call it Twitter. It's like name that, like, your local breweries, and people were like amazed at how many local breweries you actually have. And it was like from where you're standing, 10-mile radius, the amount of breweries in a 10-mile radius of most people is unbelievable.
Generally, except me. I'm in a little bubble of. I suppose there is in 10 miles, but I'm in a little bubble of northwest London. All the other parts of London have a fairly good splattering of breweries, but I'm in the northwest corner, and sort of northwest London, for some reason, has fallen. It's just not quite got that thing somehow.
Yeah.
But certainly with intent. Well, US beer is a totally different thing. Dave Wilson Parish Brewing, I've heard of them. A beer called Reeve Coffee Stout.
Coffee Stout.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, it says Axminster.
Axminster
is one of those places. I'm never quite sure whether it's Dorset or Devon or whatever.
Devon border, isn't it? It's the Dorset-Devon border, literally.
Yeah, you just basically throw a bunch of pins in the map and you just carpet bomb the map and you'll find Axminster.
Carpet, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think Slurpy's got a bed. We do some good jokes anyway. Twisted Fairy, hello, thanks for popping in.
Hi, Twisted.
No, you go enjoy watching your film. We're just chatting about beer, so.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we're just talking.
You'll come back and give us hell. Oh no, let's say goodnight. It's Twisted.
Actually, yeah.
Are there many pubs that just carry beers from the surrounding breweries? That's a good question, actually. I don't know whether you get that in Manchester. Do you just get local Manchester Stockport kind of beers? I suppose you do if it's a Tide pub.
I'm going to say, yeah. So like your Robinsons, your Lees, your Hydes, and Holtz's. So most of them are just like, I mean, JW Lees, I think, are a great brewery in Manchester. An old family traditional brewery, but they're doing some great beers, and they're doing some They're being really innovative at the moment, and I had a saison by them, but unbelievable. I was in Anglesey in one of their pubs, so it's a Manchester brewery. They've got a pub in Anglesey.
That sort of stretches out, it's not far. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was staying there overnight, and they had a saison and another beer, and it was like they've got like I can't remember what they call it now, but it's like a crafty part of JW Lee's. I think they call it the pump room or something. It's that's sort of like the name, the umbrella for them. And the saison was really good. I was like,
wow, that is, yeah. I mean,
traditional brewer,
yeah,
have done this and sort of to, they're understanding that we might need to, get a bit more of the local market, because JW Lee's do a lot with Cloudwater. So I'm wondering if Cloudwater have done a bit of, inspired them to do some of this crafty stuff, because
do they like take their yeast or something? Like, is that like obviously like a
yeah. So Cloudwater did use JW Lee's yeast in a few of their beers. I don't think the Cloudwater house yeast is a JW Lee's like yeast, but they do. So and I think they got involved with one of the harvest ales as well with JW Lee's Cloudwater. So it's great that the big regional breweries are getting involved in some of the other, smaller. Well, can you call Cloudwater small? Well, they are small.
Well, yeah, there's a different regional, isn't it? Yeah, I think a lot of those breweries kind of have to, don't they? You see them all dabbling in craft, even like over this way, like your likes of Adnams, and to a certain extent Fuller's as well down here, getting into craft, basically because they have to, because they don't want to be left out of the market. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing if it works, and I've had a couple of good ones. Yeah, but yeah, JW Lee's I would think of as more your best bitters, milds, pale ales, and IPAs, maybe. But your saison is quite a little bit out there for them, I guess.
Yeah, it was, and it was a great interpretation of saison, because I was really like low expectations of it, thinking they're probably not used to saison yeast and so, and I tasted it, I was like, this is great, this is fantastic. I would never have thought I would be drinking a JW Lee saison. It was just
I'd be interested. What is that local appeal? I mean, you sort of yourself, you probably, I guess, from a fairly traditional ale background, but cross into the craft quite easily. But your average JW Lee's drinker, I imagine, you shouldn't judge or whatever, but is your, best bitter, because that's what they've produced. But is there that market then for that best bitter pale ale sort of crowd to be getting involved in your saisons and your something different and your this, that, and the other?
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting because I went to Anglesey and found it, which into one of their trendier pubs sort of thing. And if you I'm not, if I went into a pub in Manchester, maybe we would have had something different on, because even on when they had that, they had the plum ale, Christmas plum ale as well, which is something every year they do that. Well, yeah, I totally get that, because I think your traditionalists will stick with JW Lee's milds and the best bitters and the Manchester Pale Ale, which is a fantastic beer as well. But yeah, it was just good to see them sort of getting out into this market, but also to have brewed something that tasted like it's supposed to taste, which was impressive. Because Robinson's Brewery is close to me. I don't really get on with Robinson's beers. I like the Old Tom. Prefer it on cask and bottle. Trooper was okay, but then, and that's about as far as I can go with them, because I think they've got there's a certain Robinson's taste, a bit metallic.
Right.
And it's
talking of Old Tom, Evening Reggie, that's one of Reggie who will always go on about Old Tom.
Yeah,
Robinson's is another one that, all those beers you just mentioned that I all know about and don't sort of go back to very often, but they've also, I think, sort of dabbled as well, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly. They've done like the Citra and I've tried them in the past, and they've been like, they're just not there. But to be fair, I've not given Robinson's a fair crack in the last couple of years, so maybe it's time to go and see how they are now, because people, I mean, obviously there are, again, you class them as a Manchester. Manchester have got Robinsons, Hydes, Lees, and Holt's, all traditional family brewers, still independently owned, which is fantastic, regional brewers. So maybe I should give them a bit of slack and go and try, because they are closing and moving as well. They're moving out of their original brewery into an industrial estate, which is a bit of a shame. So that's going to be housing and flats. And,
well, just money in it, I suppose, at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's just a lovely looking site, and you think, oh, they're moving to industrial estate.
Yeah. Not sure about this question from Shark. I've done an Earl Grey IPA, how about an Earl Grey bitter? But there's a big crossover there. I think it's much the same. But yeah, I don't see why not.
Disco did say at the very beginning, didn't you? It was very similar aroma to a bitter.
Yeah, I did get that initially. Yeah, that maltiness kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it was 6.8, Kevin. So yeah, more into the ESB territory. With the bitter, but I think it definitely work in the bitter. But
I'm never sure about that whole like vertical thing. I want it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, there, you know, brewery, beer name, beer style, percentage or whatever. But here's another question for you. I only noticed earlier. The other thing that it says on there is Marble canned beer produced to Hoyk standards. Now, I've always pronounced that Howick, but it's Hoyk, isn't it? Which Hoyk is up in Northumberland, isn't it?
Is that a nod to the brewers that were mentioned in the description? Is that
no? Because they were Dutch.
Yeah,
I forgot about it. I was going to come back to that actually. Yeah, Brewery Keys and Brewery de Molen.
Yeah, I can't see it.
Belgian, I think. The Brewery Keys, I've seen a couple of cans. I've not ever quite got back around to. They do a good chocolate stout. I think. No, I don't think it's Hoyk. Hoyk is up in Northumberland. Is up Luke's way between Carlisle and Newcastle. I think Hoyk.
So I wonder what's the nod there then?
Yeah, I don't know. Don't know what Hoyk standards are. I should probably Google it.
Yeah, because each of their cans they put something to Marble can beer, and they do a nod to many things on that bit there. But I don't know what that is now. No, I don't.
Yeah, thanks,
Marble's got a great story in Manchester today. I've met David Wilson. Me and David Wilson met in the Marble Arms in Manchester.
Oh, wow. Year. Okay. Yeah.
We had a drink or two, and then we moved on to other places. But Marble Arms was where they originally started brewing, and then they moved to another area in some arches, and then they moved again. So they're brewing in Salford now. That's their breweries. But yeah. Manchester, just over into Salford there, more into Slurpee's territory.
Yeah, David Wilson's good for a pint. I actually met him at Fuller's Brewery at a beer festival where we were serving. So hopefully, I'm hoping he'll come for a pint of Paravel at some point, but there's no pressure. And that doesn't really work, Simo, when you type it out. Oh, Howick. Okay, but it is up that way. It's much further north. It's to the right of Simo, I think.
If Simo's watching them, I bet if he Googled it, he'd probably get us an answer to why that is produced to Howick standards. There probably will be an answer for that. It was a lovely pub, and in July this year, myself, Mrs. B, David Wilson, Simo, possibly Craig from Kent, will be meeting at Manchester Craft Beer Festival as well. That's in July this year. That should be another good, interesting day.
I haven't quite got me summer festivals and bits and bobs worked out yet. I'm too busy working about getting myself to the weekend to get out of the brewery and working. So I think we'll be at a few beer festivals, hopefully.
How did you fall into your recent then? I mean,
literally being a customer. A customer and beer reviewing, to be fair, because I went up there, I think the second tap day they ever did. They used to do monthly tap days when they first started. And it's only, it's like 20 minutes from me, not even 20 minutes. I cycle there in 20 minutes, walking 45. But yeah, I just saw a random tweet back in the day and went, oh, that's up the road. So I'll wander up there, get the bus up there. and yeah, it was just basically serving out of a cupboard and brewing in a slightly larger cupboard. Really, they got no indoor tap space. It's all outside on this farm that's owned by the council. So I just kept going up there, and of course, I started doing beer reviews. So I was posting on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. Didn't get so much video. I've only YouTube videoed the two, that prawn cocktail and tomato one, and then like they used to start saying, "Oh, thanks, cheers, Disco," and like they'd see the posts and whatever, and I'd chat to them about the beer and what was in it, and they're really good. Like Mike's really good at chatting about beer and stuff like that. The brewer, the owner. And then I think just before lockdown, I was obviously staying a bit, chatting to them, and then lockdown was difficult because obviously they had to start getting a website out, and they were doing local deliveries, and it is all really, very, very local. And then after all that, I started going up there again and chatting to them, and then we just had one random conversation about they'd got a bigger kit, so they were doing more beers. And they were talking. We was talking to Mike about expansion, and were they thinking of taking more people on? And then my mate went, "Oh, Disco needs some work," and I'm like, "Well, I do. I've never worked in a brewery before, and I haven't really done that much serving on the bar." And like, we just got to chatting, and it was like, "Well, just come up and see what you can eat." I told him my background is sort of latterly warehouse and stuff like that, so it's only about lifting and shifting and bits and bobs. So he tells me what to do, and I put stuff in the beer, and packaging is quite good. It's only another warehouse process at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so he was like, he was happy to have some help. And next thing I know, like, so could you run the bar at the weekend? Because he's in a band, so he's like off touring and stuff. So I'm running the bar. Okay.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. So you fell into it.
Literally, yeah, just from being there, really. I sort of miss a little bit. I miss like being a customer and just drinking the beers and appreciating the beers. Like,
yeah.
I mean, people say it's your dream job, and I'm like, well, kind of. Like, yes, it is getting paid to talk about beer in a different medium to YouTube and stuff. I mean, actually, my dream job is billionaire philanthropist, but I haven't won the lottery yet. Or porn star, but
But it's really interesting. It's great though, because obviously now you're getting involved in the whole process. So
yeah,
the whole thing, you've seen it. So the knowledge you're going to have on the bar, it's going to be fantastic. Just the understanding you're going to have, and when a customer comes in. I mean, Runaway Brewery is really local to me now, and it's great going in there because the guys who are involved in the brewery running the tap as well. So when you speak about the beers, it's just like it's great.
The main thing is like, for having been a beer drinker for best part of over 30 years, I suppose, I've always gone to like breweries and done the brewery tour and done innumerate ones. And it's only, in the last year that it's suddenly made a lot more sense, because you go around breweries and you see all these tanks and pipes and process, and they talk about the materials, and you're like, oh yeah, that's great. Can we get to the free beer now? And then on some of them, but now that process, that what they're talking about makes more sense because I'm seeing it in real time.
Yeah.
And then on the bar, it's a bit, I mean, we put a new bar in last year. So I'm not a smart person. I still get confused easily, and there's pipes all over the place and gas lines and whatever. So it's still a little bit confusing, but it's slowly getting there as a new, moving into a new thing. But yeah, a lot. And also when I say like, I've only ever done one, I've done a couple of home brews in varying degrees. But so when I watch, say, one of your videos or any home brewers videos, that also suddenly makes a lot more sense. So I'm like, oh, actually, I can see what you're talking about and where you're going with it and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's in where you're getting them, how you're developing the flavors and the beer and what you're adding when, and just a whole. It's a fantastic thing. I mean, I've done obviously the home brewing, but I've also been fortunate enough to do a beer at Lord's, and also beer at Red Willow in Macclesfield. Did the brew day there, which was fantastic. And there too, even them two breweries were totally different. The process is that each brewery has its own process, and there's just little differences in all the breweries, even though they get to the same goal. these little differences that they all do, and I just love that. I think it's great. It just myself and Kevin homebrew, but we have different processes, even though we're both small scale stove top brewers. There's slight differences that we do, and that's what I love about beer and brewing. Everyone seems to put their own little signature to it, and it just makes it fantastic.
Yeah, and I think you could discuss all day about the different, what's the best process or the different, or why you would do that. And it always seemed, but now it does just make a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Cheers for looking, Simo. I still didn't. I typed in Hoik standards and couldn't get a lot either. So I might come back to that one. That might be another slightly longer discussion. What is Hoik?
Yeah.
Standards. Be interesting. It depends how fast you walk, but certainly no more than about 10 minutes. You can pretty much see it from the station at Perivale, David. It's a little bit out on the limb. It's like at the far end of London. It's almost before it stops being London kind of thing, but it's definitely within inside the M25 and up the end of the Central line at Perivale there, yeah. Kevin's still watching. Yeah. As I said, we could argue that all day.
Is this the brewery then that I remember you and Craig doing a live? Was that there?
Yes, that's right. That's the one. Yeah, Craig come over to see us because he was up in London, and he jumped out on the train, and that was before. So I was a customer then, so I was sort of buying beers, and I probably we had a good laugh. I was sort of like taking a mickey about a little bit, but Craig come out and it was good laugh. So he enjoyed the beers. So
yeah, I remember watching that. It was good.
That's another video I might do about all their weird beers, because we were drinking then nettle pilsner. It's got stinging nettles in it.
Oh, I've done a nettle beer. Really enjoyed the nettle beer, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, obviously you've got to get the right time of year for the nettles and make sure you pick the nettles at the right height. Otherwise, you can have a donkey or rhyme beer.
Where we are, it's kind of all wild stuff where. Like it's in a like the apple orchard on the farm, so there's nothing going in there. So, although the last time we brewed it, one of the first ones I did, it was back end of the summer. Well, it's like October, so it's kind of still really sunny. And I walked up in shorts, and he went, "We're brewing nettle pilsner today." And I'm like, "You didn't tell me that." And I'm walking through the orchard in shorts trying to pick the nettles. It was kind of funny, but yeah, I think that's coming up. I think it's kind of about the right time now because they're all up. So I think we might do that next week.
Yeah, because they do say that the fresh tops of the nettles make the best flavour for the beer. So interesting. Do you ever do any ciders then if you've got their own apples?
No, the apples, because there's not that many. There's not that many trees, so the apples all get pressed in Apple Day in September, October, and they just sell the pure juice. So there's not quite enough to be commercially, even as a small brewery. I don't think there's quite enough. And again, it's all although it's a brewery, it's just brewing out of a cupboard. We don't actually own the space or anything. It's all like it's owned by the council but run by volunteers. So we've talked about it, and it is possible, I suppose. But we've stuck with he's stuck with beer at the moment.
Yeah. Good.
Cheers, David. Give me a shout.
Oh, that'd be great.
Have you ever, or are you sort of latterly into home brewing, or have you ever had any thoughts of any commercial brewing of your own? I know you've done the two, like as you say, but
no, I enjoy it as a hobby. I love it. It's a brilliant hobby, but I like it as a hobby. I've done a day at Lords. I've done a day at Red Willow. It's unbelievable how much hard work is involved in doing it commercially. It's unbelievable. Long days. I mean, I went over to, when I did my brew day with Lords, I left the house at I think it's about 4:15 in the morning. Got over to Lords. We mashed in at 6 a.m. and then I left Huddersfield at 5:45 p.m. So it's a 12-hour shift to do the beer, because obviously the whole process, the cleaning down, And if I did that 5 days a week, I wouldn't see the weekend. That's why I have so much respect for craft breweries, because it's all hands on.
Yeah.
Like yourselves, it's proper getting stuck in, long processes, but quality beer at the end. And that's why I don't mind paying the prices as well. When I see a beer, and I don't really grumble about the price, because I know that all the process, the hard work that's gone into this, is, the smaller breweries. And Red Willow's the same now. I mean, they was doing double brew days. They're obviously bigger than, so they was doing double brew days. So it was literally, it mashed in at 6, then they were mashing in again at like 11:30. But yeah, and if I was 10 or 15 years younger, I'd be thinking I'd definitely go and get. I do some sort of like open university and get into it that way, and then maybe look at it as a full-time job. But as it is, I love it as a homebrew hobby, and I can do many different varieties of beers. And some of the mistakes that I do make, it doesn't matter, because it's just, for me, it's a small scale thing.
That's definitely something I come to realize as well. Just like we don't start at 6 a.m, but I don't mind going until 6, 7 o'clock at night if necessary on some days, because I'm not a morning person. But I didn't realize that, even though, I say, all those brewery tours I've done, you don't realize that, like you say, just all the different. It takes an hour to do this, then an hour to do that, and then transfer.
Yeah,
and then blah, blah, blah,
that's right. Yeah, and all the precise, even from a home brewer, you try and get it as precise as possible with your measurements, and making sure you're reaching targets and boil-offs, and it's all calculations throughout the day, making sure that you're using the right hops with the right alpha acids to make sure the IBUs. It's all, it's throughout the day. It's all different things going on, and making sure the yeast, you're pitching the right amount of yeast. There's so much involved, and that's why I respect what they do. Respect.
That's why at the moment I'm quite happy. Just as a starter, I'm not smart enough to know all that percentages and, like you say, acids and stuff. I leave that to Mike. And it's only small scale. I mean, doing a couple of days here and there, So, but yeah, it is. I'm thinking about looking at that course, whether I'd like whether I learn like that, and whether that would be useful. But double brew days would be back. Oh yeah. But they've got a bigger production scale, and they Hogsback. So you want to brew on Shark system.
Shark's system is quite nerve-wracking, because his pan is it's like his literage in his pan, and he was showing me the other day he was just about to get to boil, but he's got about an inch at the top of his pan, and he's just about to boil, so he's got to keep a real eye on it and it could be like a boil over, and that's that is going to be a nightmare. But he likes living on the edge. Let's put it that. That's why he's a shark.
Yeah. and yet, certainly in this country, and yet people are still opening breweries, craft breweries. I mean, there's loads closing, but people are still giving it a go. I mean, fair play to them for doing it and making that jump. And the ones that work, fair play.
Yeah, near me, with First Class Ale, we lost last year. They were a great brewery, Alphabet Brewing, which now has been Brewing now being brewed out of Cornwall. I think someone bought their recipes and stuff. So Alphabet is now brewed out of Cornwall. Obviously, it's not the same. There's been a few, and like mentioned before, Chapter. So the Northwest, it's definitely been hit. But then you've got other breweries that are striving, and like you say, there's new breweries coming on as well.
Every time I see it, and I'm like, half of me thinks, don't do it. You don't need to do it. Let's just find a local brewery, work for them, or like whatever. But people want to do it because, I don't know, it's either the magic of doing your own company, making your own thing, or is it, I think I'm going to make millions? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, making millions. I don't think. As far as if I had my own business now, I'd look at going into bakery, bread. I think bread's a good one to go in.
Yeah. That's the other one I was going to mention up your way that went recently was Thirst Class.
Yeah, First Class. Yeah, They
Yeah,
went last year.
I got into them. They look. I got an order out of them. They look really good, and they were getting quite a lot out. But again,
Yeah, it's a shame.
costs and
First
whatever.
class. Yeah, they went round about September, I think. First class brewed their last beer, which is such a shame because they did a fantastic. Some of their beers were fantastic. They did a fantastic brown ale, which was great. And it's just a shame. Richard is the brewer. I'm quite fortunate. One of the local pubs near me used to do Meet the Brewer quite often. So living where I live is quite a lot of brewers. So when you meet the brewers from like Pomona, Marble, you get to have a good chat with these guys and get a lot of understanding. Like Joe from Marble, getting to meet him is fantastic. And just, I think that's a great thing. I'd love that, something on the internet, on YouTube, to do like a virtual Meet the Brewer where you can buy, say me and you could buy beers from that brewery, and that brewery could be in London, but I could meet the brewer online and chat about the beers. I think that'd be fantastic. Something.
I mean, yeah, it has been done. I mean, we've done a couple. I'm always a bit shy at asking. Do you know what I mean? Because I think the brewer's going to go, "Hey, just some geezer online." Do you know what I mean? But some brewers really appreciate that and are happy to talk about. I mean, we've done a couple. What I'd like to do is, like, once you get somewhere, is to get a pack together and say, this is the beers we're going to be drinking.
Yeah.
Here's 3 weeks in advance. Get by it, and we'll all have a drink together, like maybe.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, another one that's near me. It might interest you. I don't know if you've ever heard of Torside.
Oh yeah.
Torside is like, we've met the brewer at Torside. They've only got a little brewery, but they do a lot of smoked beers, dark beers. Yeah.
That's not the one I was thinking of. That's the mild, but they had a disco beer. I had them in the disco collection. It was a bottle. Something about fire. No. Burn the Disco Down.
Okay, so it was a smoky beer.
Yeah. Funny enough, thanks for pointing that out, because Shark loves a smoky beer. That's one of the things we often talk about.
Yeah, they're a great little brewery, and they do the smoke beers really well, and they also do. I mean, they do different styles, but the dark beers are fantastic. I've had one called the Grubby B. I'll let you fill in the blanks, and I've also had the Grubbier B, which is even stronger and great stouts. I can't promote them more. They're a fantastic, very small. Bit like, I think they might even be a little bit smaller than the Lords. Yeah, they're monsters.
Yeah.
Is that the homebrew one?
Burn the Disco Down.
No,
it is a triple smoked red barley wine.
Wow. Yeah. I've got a Monsters one in the fridge. One of their Torside Monsters. They're always, the Monsters are the stronger, like you say, a barley wine.
I should probably clear all this stuff up at some point, and I do eventually. But it's good to put your hands on a beer eventually that you're talking about. It took me a while.
Yeah. I'm one of them ones that take the stickers off the cans, crush the can, recycle it, but put the stickers. I've got 4 fridges in the back room, which I just stick all my stickers on. It's like
a slight bone of contention. I haven't quite worked out where I'm putting the stickers yet, so I haven't done that. I haven't put the late. I need to put like a book or something.
Yeah, mine are all overlapping now. It's like, oh no, they're all starting to cover each other up. It's like,
I'm fortunate enough to have a large spare room where all the boxes of beers are in the last 4 years, and I'm not really a label connector, but I have done in the last 4 years, but I need to sort it out.
Yeah.
Timo agrees with Kevin. Not keen on smoked beers. You're wrong, but I appreciate that.
Tell you what, Timo, I'll bring you a Torside beer. I reckon I could change your mind, because they're not.
Torside.
I'm not talking the German. What's that beer called? The
Schlenkerla.
Yeah, they're not.
Not Schlenkerla, as somebody pronounces it.
Yeah. It's like a bacon in a smoked bacon in the beer sort of.
I love that.
They can do that, but a lot of them just have this underlying smokiness, which works really well in a dark beer.
Sorry, Dave, I missed that one. Last two beer tastings have been sales reps rather than brewers. One was, sales reps. Depends on the size of the brewery, doesn't it? I mean, like if they know about the beers and they're invested in it, sales reps are fine because they're good at sales. But you do need to know a bit of information. It would be helpful.
Yeah. And that's why I've been quite fortunate with meeting head brewers in these. Meet the brewers have been fantastic. Even meeting when I went up to Lords and Steve and Mike, just brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. They had a salesperson as well, didn't they, at Lords? He did some stuff, so they...
I think he was called Mike as well.
Oh, okay.
There was a Mike, the brewer, and Mike, the salesman. I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure that was me.
I mean, obviously, I've met John at GBBF, and I think, did I have the beer that you brewed with him there? Was that a GBBF?
Yeah, it was.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I remember it being I think I only got a cheeky half in the end because I had so many beers to get round to, but it was a good beer.
Yeah, the traditional, like an IPA. Yeah, with English hops. Smoke.
He's told me about it before about Alaskan Brewery. I'm sure I've seen it and I've always missed it, but over the top. I think smoked beers by their very nature are a little bit over the top, aren't they? Because they are so divergent. But do you know what? Again, not wrong. I imagine smoked beer I try to taste is what I imagine a dishwater from an ash. I know what you mean, and sometimes it does. And there are some smoked beers that taste. There's some non-smoked beers that taste a bit like what I imagine sucking on a cigar tastes like. There's got that kind of leathery smokiness.
Yeah, I agree. There's some beers that you taste and go, has this got smoked malts in it? And they haven't. But sometimes a big percentage of roasted barley or something can give you that astringent, smoky, cigarette, ashy taste.
Yeah. Certainly the cigar ones I don't mind so much. Not so much the cigarettes, but cigar. Partial to a bit of leather, smoky leather.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, diverse and complex. And really. I'm starting to get into like lambics now at the moment. That's
okay. Yeah, I've not quite there yet, but I don't mind some sour stuff, but not too sour, not too like mouth puckeringly sour and that.
Yeah, so I'm on that journey now. I'm brewing my first spontaneous beer, so it's
okay.
That's going to be a 3-year project before I get to really give that a go because I've got to. My plan is to brew 10 litres every 6 months, and then them 10 litres, when it gets to 3 years, start to blend them backwards and make a gueuze. That's my idea. So
I know all of those words and they all make sense, but I don't know the process enough to know exactly what that's about. But it sounds that's another learning experience by the sound of it.
Yeah. It's new. It's a new process for me, and that's the whole thing. It's just about that's why I enjoy beer so much. Every time you feel like you're learning.
Yeah, was that a long decision making process to brew that beer, or was it just a spontaneous thing? You thought you'd give it a go.
Yeah, spontaneous.
Lambics do often, I think, cost a bit as well. That's the thing,
that's the thing. I mean, at the weekend, my local bottle shop put on Facebook. They had you might not know, but have you ever heard of Cantillon?
Yeah.
And they put on a post that they've got very limited stock. It was Easter Saturday, and they said, basically, if you come in the shop and find a bottle, you can have one per customer, but you've got to find it. So I was like, oh my, straight there. And went in, looking around the shop. It was really good how they did it, to be honest. And then I found a couple of beers, and Mrs. B was with me, so I said, one per customer, but there's 2 of us, so
Yeah, you go that way, you go the other. Yeah.
Yeah. So they allowed me to buy, but I think one was £19, one was £20. But
Yeah.
it's a very unique, special beer to be getting hold of. So it is expensive. I do agree.
Do you want to do a quick name drop and give I don't know if it makes any difference, but give a shout out to your local bottle shop because they sound pretty good. So
yeah, the Bottle Stop at Clane in Bramhall, and absolutely fantastic. They do a lot of Belgium, German, a lot of local. They do a lot of. I can go in there and pick up crafty stuff from down south. They've got a vast array and really good, reasonable prices. Cheers for that discount. Just
out of interest, do they do like national delivery, or are they purely local?
I think they're purely local, but yeah, they're just really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, I say that because I would generally, if they've got an online shop, then I'd have a look on and see what there is about. To be fair, I love picking up local and random stuff, and you never know, especially for disco beers. You know what I mean? If I see a local beer that's got a disco beer and I can find it local, I will. But if they don't, no worries. But it's always worth giving your locals a shout. All right, Steve. Steve Manston popping in. Thank you. Steve. One probably, I guess, final question. I guess, well, because we mentioned it earlier, very at the start of the show, and I don't think I ever actually asked, but it's a question I've been asking sort of everybody, especially off the back of that prawn cocktail beer. Probably a two-part question for you. What is the weirdest or the most unusual adjunct you've seen or tried in a beer? And supplementary, what's the most unusual or weirdest adjunct you've homebrewed with?
So the homebrew one, that's easier. Because I've brewed a Gruit.
Okay, a Gruit, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
I had lots of unusual. In the one I brewed, I had heather, had dandelion.
Wow.
So much. I had peppercorns. It was a right mishmatch of anything. Basically, no hops whatsoever.
I was going to say, for anybody who's not sure about a Gruit, it's like a really old style of beer without any, basically from before they'd cultivated hops, as I understand it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it was a case of foraging, and I added local stuff and a pine, pine from a pine tree.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that was in there. That I did the pininess. So and that actually won the local homebrew competition as well. So from a homebrewing point, that was probably the weirdest things because I've never rebrewed it.
I mean, I sound like I know what I'm talking about, but only because Perivale brewed a Gruit basically with a load of forest ingredients from off the hill, and we had like pineapple mugwort, and I can't even remember what was in it now, so I don't sound that knowledgeable. But some really random stuff.
Yeah. It's really interesting. It's amazing how it comes together. Basil, that's the other thing I put in.
Oh, okay.
It's amazing how it comes together and just gives you the notes of a beer, which is fantastic. A drinking one.
Of course it was. Shark's unusual adjunct with smoked malt. That's not an adjunct, as far as well you know, but I appreciate for chiming. He knows that's fine.
One of the, I suppose this isn't really, I don't know if you can allow this to count, but I had from Red Willow Brewery, they did a Saison, but blended it with a cider. So it was a cider Saison. So that was strange. So it's like suppose you could call it what's the beer? Snake bite in a can, but it's a Saison cider, which was, that was unusual. It was very unusual to drink. Because when you see that on the bar, you think, what? Saison cider? That was unusual. I can't really think of anything else. I mean, I've had the silly ones from Northern Monk, which we discussed. So, like the Christmas pudding things and all. I just don't get on with them. I really. Did
you have that prawn cocktail ghost and the cheese and onion lager, Malak? I refused to go and do that.
I didn't have that. No, that was a Seabrooks, though, wasn't it? That
I
did myself and Simo, we did the Aunt Bessie ones. Oh, I'm telling
See, I
you,
was
dude.
all right with them. I've still got, that roast dinner one, the brown ale I thought was pretty good, to be fair.
Yeah, so they had and there was a custard, was it apple crumble or something? There was some, and then there was a
jam roly-poly.
Yeah, an ice lolly one. It was like, but that again, that might be me and my not sweet tooth, not working, where other people may have enjoyed it. But yeah, I think if I was going for a straightforward beer, I'd say Saison.
Yeah, Saisons I think lend themselves to slightly more to those weird kind of, I don't know, weird or disgusting is two separate issues, I think. Similar, that's a good point. Pink peppercorns from Alphabet Brewing. I had a pink peppercorn one from Queer Brewing, which was a collab, I think, with Abbeydale.
Pink peppercorns in the beer.
Yeah, that kind of has that kind of some hops, like you get a certain spiciness or certain peppiness at the end. So actually putting peppercorns, again, is weird, but sounds weird, but isn't when you think about it quite so weird. But it's definitely unusual, like, you know.
I can't remember the style that Simo had. That was like a saison-y beer, I say, from Alphabet, and I think it was brewed for like International Women's Day or something. It was like a pink, and that's why you use the pink peppercorns.
Yeah.
It wasn't called a saison. There's another word, so it's like a French farmhouse beer, but it's not saison.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember. That was the style that was by Alphabet. So it's not a saison.
I always put farmhouse and saison together in the same thing. Anyway,
I think this is just another name for
there we go. He's got it, a grisette.
That's it, yeah. That was it. Yeah. So basically it's like a saison farmhouse ale.
Yeah. Not as bad as those Christmas beers. Was that the Christmas pudding?
They were disgusting. They were from Glen Carrick.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Oh.
I haven't until recently. I haven't got a home. Was it Home Bargains they were or something?
Yeah.
And there's a Home Bargains just opened up in the town centre, and I haven't rushed up there to get anything out of that either. But although I would have been interested with the cucumber one they did, but I thought Moroccan meatball stew was actually going to be a beer style, but I think Buddy's just talking about what he's having for tea. But I wouldn't put it past someone. You know, that's probably like, you know, that's a Northern Monk and Brains collab coming up, Brains Faggots or something.
Yeah, Brains Faggots. Yeah.
Actually, Brains did. I don't think it was an April Fool's because it was well before April, but Brains put a thing out the other week about, they were talking about a 0%, a no alcohol 0.5% beer, and they were going to call it No Brainer. And I'm like, that's genius. I would buy that. No, I would try that.
Just for the name. Yeah. Where to go. So putting that question back to you then, apart from your prawn cocktail beer, what would you say is the most unusual beer adjunct that you've had before the prawn cocktail?
Well, I previously didn't think it's again a Paravel beer, probably. I don't know, outside of Paravel, there's been some fairly random stuff, but yeah, I mean, and like I say, that Northern Monk with roast potatoes, they claim St. Ives do one with roast potatoes as well, apparently. But the next beer to come out of Paravel, and I didn't think I was allowed to talk about this, but he put it out in a press release the other day, an email. And I don't know if anybody guessed or saw in that video the prawn cocktail beer I did, where I waved it in front of the camera.
That bottle that you had?
No, I said this is not the weirdest adjunct, and I waved some plant material.
Asparagus.
That's a very good guess, but no, it looks like asparagus. It looks like a cross between asparagus and rhubarb, and tastes somewhere between celery and pickled gherkin.
So what is it? What is it then?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I might as well because they put it out. It's a bit of an exclusive. Japanese knotweed.
Oh,
correct answer. Yeah,
Japanese knotweed.
Yeah.
I mean that is so invasive.
It's out there, isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, that's a great way of getting rid of it, isn't it?
Most people think it's poisonous because it's it's just an invasive species. It's actually completely edible. I actually had a slice last year when we, like, obviously this time of year, don't try this at home, kids, and only this time of year, I think. Yeah, later on, the young shoots. Later on, it gets too bitter and stuff. I mean, you can still eat it, but it's just you wouldn't. It's not edible. It's edible, but not eatable. But yeah, that's why I say it tastes because I've tried because we just chop it up. We chopped it up. Last year's beer didn't actually work out. I think due to other invasive like wild yeasts or whatever on the thing. But we're going to possibly try it again. So I have tried it. It didn't work out, but hopefully we're going to do it again this year.
Okay, that'll be interesting then.
Yeah.
Ale base.
I don't know. Last year it was a sour, not quite a ghost, but a sour.
Like a sour.
Yeah, basically because it has got that kind of pickled gherkin type edge to it.
Makes sense.
If not, I think we might put it. He's quite good at doing like wild foraged like sodas.
Yeah.
So he did one. He did one last week using matcha tea.
Right. Yeah.
We did try doing a matcha tea beer, but it was difficult because it was tea powder, so it didn't really work in suspension. It just dropped out.
Yeah, floating stuff.
The last tap day, last weekend. It's not tap days anymore. It's every weekend now. But he did this thing with like blossom. I think it's cherry blossom or like blackberry blossom, and like soaked in vinegar, and then put it with some ginger and some sugar syrup and carbonated it in soda water.
Wow.
But yeah, he's very good at doing just really unusual, weird sounding, but not that weird when you think about it stuff, like, you know.
Yeah, and using what's available to him, which is just fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, basically because we're in a London, but we've got this. It's Horsenden Hills, so it's like a not quite a nature preserve, but it's owned by the council, so it's like protected area, and there's lots of like nature and bats and beavers and stuff.
Yeah.
Again, yes, I'm not sure, but I think when it grows in the wild, it's different to when it grows in your house. It's an invasive species and has to be eradicated.
Yeah, I know they inject it to get rid of it. They actually
you have to be very careful how you dispose of it as well, because it will, if you chuck it on like the compost heap, it just grows.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and they say, don't they, if you stamp all over it and then walk somewhere else, you could.
Oh, right, really?
Somewhere else as well.
Yeah. So I mean, we have a guy who comes up there who kind of knows about this kind of like wild foraging stuff. This guy called John the Poacher, so he's been quite good advising the brewery on all these wild eats like mushroom foraging and all that. So he knows about this kind of stuff. So
I was about to mention to you, myself and Simo have we both bought a beer from Balance Brewing. They're in Manchester.
Oh, yeah.
And they do wild ales and spontaneous stuff. And it's actually behind me here somewhere, but we've got a mushroom beer. So 750ml mushroom beer. So there's another. That's a different one. I'm not going to open it until possibly nearer to my birthday because it's quite it looks like a. It's going to be.
I was annoyed with myself. Wild Beer used to do a mushroom beer, and they had it on their web store for ages, and it was on for sale. And I'm like, I couldn't quite put another order together of stuff because I used to get Wild Beer stuff quite before they went elsewhere. But they had a mushroom beer, and I'm like, I want to try that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just. When I seen it, I just messaged Simo and went, look at this. And I ordered it. And then before I know it, Simo had ordered it. It was like 80 quid for a bottle, a 750ml bottle. But yeah, really looking forward to that. It's going to be something different.
Yeah, no, that's a different thing altogether, Henry. But, don't rule it out. It is, if you get CBD beers, why not magic mushrooms? You know what I mean? A little bit of philosopher's stone. Do I know about that?
Yeah. Well, if me and Simo do a live drinking it and all of a sudden we start hallucinating, we'll know what mushrooms we've been putting in it.
Well, exactly. I mean, I suppose, I don't know. I'm sure that also lends itself to home brews as well, I suppose.
Yeah.
If you don't tell anyone about it, it's not illegal, is it? Shit, what have I just said?
Imagine entering that into the next competition. Why does everything look so different?
No, you see, David, I think Simo would go the opposite way on a mushroom beer. I think he would just be chilled and placid and this is fucking wild, man. I can't do a Preston accent any more than I can do a Lancashire accent, but sorry.
You sounded more Scouse then.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Apologies to all Northerners listening. Sorry. Well, I tell you what. On that note, I think we've had a good 2 hours. We was talking about doing an hour or so and seeing how it goes. It's been really fun. I can chat to you about beer all night if you let me. To be fair, on or off the internet. But I think there is a good a time as any to say thank you so much for popping in and chatting the beers. And anytime you want to come back on, I guess we could do something else with some other beers. I've got another question for you offline, so stick on when I end the stream, and I've got a different question for you.
No problem.
What I'm going to do, because I'm going to, let's end it there and say thank you very much and enjoyed the beers, enjoyed the Marble Earl Grey IPA.
Lovely.
Yeah. And I'm going to check out your other one, your chocolate stout, because that looked really good on the cans. Thank you very much indeed. I've got an outro and then I've got a question for you. Cheers. And thanks to everybody for popping in. Thanks to everybody who's watching after the event. As Henry says, please like, subscribe, and whatever comments you want as well. Thanks very much indeed. Cheers and enjoy the beers.
Cheers.
I've got a new outro. I've done this special. Let's see how it works.